Welcome to Dumo Plays. Today I'm playing Splatoon 2 and starting a new series called Raw to X, where I am starting a new save file and working my way up to X rank all modes. As you can see, I'm currently level 7. I was going to try to do a big montage from level 1 to 10, but unfortunately it's just not going to work out. Luckily, this change means that I can show you guys some of the earlier game stuff that I'm doing and discuss some of the stuff I'm going to be focusing on for this run. This video is going to start off with quite a bit more talking than usual, just to get some things out of the way, just the focus and the strategy a little bit. It's going to be really good for newer players, and then after this video, we're going to focus a lot more on the gameplay. To start out, don't order gear from merch. This little dude right here, he's a ripoff for now. In fact, ignore him completely because he's a ripoff for newer players. We're going to come back to him later on, probably somewhere around level 30-ish if we get there before X-All modes, when we have more money to play around with. We're going to be coming back to gear abilities in a second, but I want to start off with some weapon choices. Right here we have the Splattershot Jr. This is one weapon you actually start the game with. It is absolutely fantastic, and you can use it all the way to 10 without any problems. In fact, you can use it in ranked all the way up through X if you really wanted to. No problems whatsoever. It's one of the best weapons in the game right now. After that, all of your splatter shots, they're actually all absolutely fantastic weapons. Right now, the Kenta splatter shots a little bit more meta at the higher levels, but they'll come in and out depending on what's going on in the metagame. Blaster's an interesting option to take, although it can be a little bit harder for newer players. Splat Roller we're going to run with. We're going to focus on that one this week, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the games. Then we have our Ink Brush and Ink Brush Nouveau. The Nouveau, I personally feel, is a better weapon. Baller is just fantastic. Both are great. They cover a lot of turf. They're a lot of fun to play. And then we have Splat Charger, which I'm not really going to do too much in Turf War because it's kind of a pain. It's actually a lot easier to learn it just in Ranked. As for some of the weapons I didn't pick up, the Custom Splattershot Jr. I didn't grab so far just because I find the Splattershot Jr. is so good. It's such a powerful weapon right now that the Custom, even though it is a decent weapon and it's got a good kit, I would prefer just to run with the regular Splattershot Jr. As for the Arrow Spray, it's very common for new players. It covers a lot of turf. It's a great weapon for that, but personally, I just don't like the weapon in general. I find that the Splattershot Jr. and the Custom Splattershot Jr. do the same job, just much, much better. The Carbon Roller, well, I like the Carbon Roller Deco. I'm not a big fan of the Carbon Roller. I even prefer the Splat Roller over this one, but if you want to go for it, go for it. Same thing with the Slosher. The Deco I find is much better. The kit is Sprinkler and Baller and absolutely fantastic. It's a very, very strong choice. But the Slosher itself is a great weapon, and if you want to run this kit, you definitely can, especially if you wanted to learn how to play the buckets. As far as Splat Dualies, I just haven't thought about grabbing it yet. Burst Bomb is absolutely fantastic. The mobility from Dualies, absolutely great. Ton of missiles, pretty darn good for Turf War. And I'll probably end up picking this up or one of its other kits at some point in time. Anyways, if anyone wants me to spend a week playing one of these weapons, just kind of give some details and thoughts on them, feel free to ask down in the comments section. I'm willing to play pretty much anything. I don't think there's any weapon that I absolutely won't play at X rank. It might not be great for me, but I'll give it a try anyways. All right, let's jump back into some of the gear discussion. All right, so for gear abilities, we want to snap up anything that has quick respawn, run speed, and main power-up as just sort of a general must-have. Other ones you're going to want to have a few of is Special Saver, Ink Resist, Swim Speed. Again, you're going to want a few of them just as options. They come in very handy. As for specifics, headgear-specific stuff we want to look out for is Comeback. Stuff for your body that's very specific. It's not really used too much, but Haunt is currently being played on Chargers. Other than that, not really too much specific stuff we want on there. So a lot of times that's where you're going to end up running your run speed or your quick respawn. As for feet, we've got Stealth Jump and Object Shredder as options. You really don't want to miss out on those ones. They're pretty common and pretty big. Things you can avoid and pass over that a lot of players don't a lot of players flock to that I just don't believe in. Respawn Punisher, it sounds good, but if you're playing that well, that it's going to be really impacting the other team, you don't really need the help of Respawn Punisher. And if things aren't going so well, it just makes everything snowball really badly, really quickly. The other one is Inksaver Main. Inksaver Main is one of those ones. A lot of newer players seem to really want to play it, but there's actually few kits that actually need it. There are a few weapons that do use it and make good use out of it, but they're very few, and otherwise, I feel like you'd be better off with other abilities outside of Inksaver Main, and if you've played with a bunch of Inksaver Main, it makes it harder for you to manage your ink properly without it. So it's best just to not have the bad habits and sense of where your ink tank runs out, and just play without it. There are going to be a few weapons. Things like Brellas are notorious for needing Inksaver Main. That's kind of their lifeline, and we can talk about that a little later. Anyways, let's take a look at what we have right now and what we're going to be running with today. So here we see the options that I've already picked up. These ones here, they come for, I believe you get it if you sign up for a year for the Nintendo Switch Online. This one's the one that comes with. We've picked up a special saver, which I'm not going to be using today because the weapon I'm using has splashdown, which actually has special saver built into it. As you can see, I've been focusing on making sure I don't miss the main power-ups that I see. Over here, we have quick respawn. We have two of them. This one here comes your basic T. That's the one you start the game with. This one here is the one you get for the 1-year subscription. And here's your Splatfest T replica, which eventually I'm going to max out and just see if it keeps going on infinitely like the regular Splatfest T does. I'm not really too sure yet. As you can see, I picked up the 2 quick respawns and the 1 swim speed. Over here, this is probably the best thing as far as the pieces that you get for the 1 year is you actually get stealth jump, which is going to come in very handy later on. I picked up run speed. I picked up ink resist. Again, more special saver. And we've got another main power up. The reason for the main power up and quick respawn, a lot of weapons right now are either running large amounts of run speed, main power up, or quick respawn, especially on the front line. The back line's a little bit different depending on what weapon you're running, but that's why we're going to focus on those. And then the special saver and the ink resist is going to be a little bit more of utility, and then the run speed is basically to either increase how well you ink on certain weapons. Things like the Splattershot Junior is very good with run speed. Otherwise, if you're using any sort of splatling, your heavy, your mini, your Nautilus ballpoint, Hydra, stuff like that, you want as much run speed as you can get. And you also want a main of ink resist as well. So that's why we're picking up those things to prepare for later. Anyways, let's talk really quick about the weapons. As you can see, the ones we've grabbed, I've played around with. Your splatter shots are very good weapons for slaying, which is getting as many kills as you can. Same thing with your ink brushes, although they're actually very, very good at turfing. Blaster's a little bit harder to use because it takes a lot of ink. It's very powerful as far as getting kills. However, it doesn't ink very well, so it's a little bit harder in Turf War if you're not used to it. Splat Charger, phenomenal weapon. I absolutely love it. I absolutely hate playing it in Turf War. I can explain that a little bit more when we actually get into Ranked, but in Ranked, things are a little bit more predictable, which means you know where to look when you're shooting, so it's a little bit harder for people to sneak up on you. Splattershot Junior, you can run this whole thing with Splattershot Junior all the way to level 10. Fantastic weapon. Special's amazing. The sub is amazing. Absolutely great. Go ahead and use it. Today we're going to be focusing on the Splat Roller, and in a second here, I'm just going to explain a few things for newer players and some general movement stuff for you guys. So I'll see you in there. All right, so here we are in the test room. So some things I want to talk to you guys about really quick, especially with this roller in this kit, and kind of rollers in general, people generally, when they get roller, they do this because it looks really nice. Do 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 do, and look at that turf coverage. Well, they look at that and they say, well, this is the best turfing weapon in the game, quite clearly. Look at all this. Well, actually, you put a little bit of run speed on a junior or an arrow spray, and it's actually going to turf better and faster. And the problem with this is that you wind up, a lot of people end up running and running and running. Again, it's quite powerful. You do get kills out of it. You run and you run and you run, and then you end up out of ink. Then someone comes and you try to fight them, and you just end up out of ink, and then you're doing nothing, and this is not good. So one thing we're going to do is we're not going to move like that. It does look nice, yes, but with this weapon, we're actually going to focus a little less on turf and a little bit more on movement and a little bit more on slaying. So if you jump and shoot, you get this nice long vertical flick. This is how we'll move around for the most part. And this here does take some aiming. As you can see, the purple at the end, that's where the aim and the actual damage is going to be. When you jump, same thing again. So it does take a little bit of aiming. Now, to note, I am not the greatest with this weapon. I'm not an amazing roller player, but I just want to kind of share a little bit of details just because there is things here that newer players are going to struggle with a little bit. The other one with this kit that we can do is we have curling bombs. So what I'd like to point out is we don't want to... let's reset the room real quick. One thing that's very common is that people with curling bombs will throw it and they'll chase it. The thing with that is that that is very common and people know. So if you see a curling bomb and someone's chasing it, they're probably going to shoot at the curling bomb, and if they don't get any hits, they're going to shoot a little bit behind it, and they're going to go down. So they'll shoot the curling bomb, and they'll start shooting this way until they start getting hits because they expect you. So one thing we're going to do is we can throw a curling bomb, bounce it off things. Then we can throw another curling bomb, and then we'll follow the first path and possibly even take the second path afterwards. Okay, so that's going to be some things we're going to try to play around with here. Let's go into Turf War and have some fun. All right, here we go. Arowana Mall, Turf War. This is actually a fairly high-level room. You guys are going to see a bunch of this throughout your time in this game. It is common since there really isn't any leveled matchmaking with this game. As you can see, I'm throwing my curling bomb out, as I said not to. But that is more just because it's at the start and no one's going to be following us. So we're going to get out here. There's someone over here. And I messed that up. There we go. We got him around the corner. So, again, we're just going to turf up more like this than anything. Throw this out. Splash. Oh, he went behind me. I thought he would drop down. Oh, I think that's a second player, actually. Never mind. How are we doing here? Let's throw this out. We're going to take a side. We don't really want to run straight up the middle every time. There is going to be a time and place where you are going to want to... there we go. To roll with your roller. And if you're turfing just a small place really quickly, go ahead and roll it. And there's going to be times where you're going to want to slam the roller and then roll if someone's close to you. We just want to avoid doing it every time and as a main way to turf. Because one thing that's very important in this game is your ink consumption. When you run out of ink, you are dead. You're not going to make it. You're done. Very, very important. Okay, they went down. There's one person over there. They're trying to turf forward. So we're just going to stop that for a second. There's going to be someone coming here at the side. We're just going to hide and wait for them. There we go. They jumped down. That was a bad decision on their behalf. But hey, we'll take it. Let's turf up a little. Back up. Where are they? I'm in trouble, and I'm dead. So one thing about Splashdown, you get killed on the way up. It used to have a bunch of invincibility frames attached to it. Oh, we can jump in. Pretty safe here. The invincibility frames have really been taken down on it just to sort of balance it out. We'll take the trade. This is why we have our stealth jump, just so we can get in a little bit safer. Someone there. There's two people there. You can see a bunch of turf over here, so that's where we're going to head. This is why one thing I would highly recommend, check your map, open up your map every single time you die, and have it open almost the entire time until you respawn. You can see so much on the map. It's just so worth it. In fact, we're probably going to focus on that for the rest of the week as we move forward. Alright, that's going to do it for the first episode of Raw to X. This was more talk than gameplay just because I wanted to get some of my thoughts and plans out of the way. Moving forward, there's going to be less chat, more gameplay. I'm going to be trying to keep up with this series for 5 days a week, and, well, we're going to see how that goes. I'm pretty busy right now, so if I can't keep up for the full 5 days a week, it's just because I've been working too much to play and edit. If you have any thoughts, questions, or requests, feel free to put them down in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. If you want to watch more of this series, go ahead and subscribe for more. Alrighty, until next time, have a great day. Bye.